The sun rises over the tree line, casting gold across still waters untouched by other boats. Your line cuts through the morning mist as a bald eagle watches from a pine. This isn't fantasy, this is fishing in America's hidden lakes. Today, we're taking you on a journey through 12 secret fishing spots across the USA. These aren't the lakes you see in magazines or tournaments. These are places where local legends are born, where monster trout and bass still strike like it's the first time, and where you'll find real, uncrowded fishing. From Washington's deep forests to the cypress swamps of the South, from Alaskan wilderness to quiet Midwestern waters, this is the guide for anglers who still believe in the thrill of discovery. So grab your gear. Let's find out where America's best-kept fishing secrets are hiding. Before we dive into the list, be sure to like and subscribe to Hooked USA. We're building a community of anglers who love discovering hidden fishing spots across America now. Grab your rod, let's get started. Lake Quinault, Washington. Nestled deep within the ancient Olympic forest of Washington state lies Lake Quinault, a pristine body of water that remains one of the Pacific Northwest's best-kept secrets. What makes this glacial lake truly special isn't just its breathtaking beauty, it's the monster rainbow trout that patrolled its depths. Local anglers have pulled 20-pound-plus specimens from these waters, yet you'll rarely find this lake mentioned in popular fishing publications. The surrounding old-growth forest creates a natural cathedral of silence, where the only sounds you'll hear are the gentle lapping of water against your boat and perhaps the distant call of an eagle. Morning mists hover over the surface at dawn, creating an almost mystical fishing experience as your line breaks the mirror-like water. The lake's protected status within Olympic National Forest has limited development, meaning you won't find crowded marinas or noisy watercraft disrupting your experience. Access points remain purposefully limited, with just a few modest boat launches available. Fall brings spectacular colors to the surrounding maples and alders, reflecting on the water's surface while the fishing reaches its peak. The lake's remote means cellular service is spotty at best, a blessing for those looking to truly disconnect while connecting with nature and some of the most impressive trout fishing in America. Caddo Lake, New Mexico. Caddo Lake emerges from the high desert landscape of northern New Mexico like a mirage, a striking blue oasis, surrounded by red rock formations and sun-baked juniper trees. This remote reservoir sits at over 6,800 feet elevation, creating a unique fishing environment where cool water species thrive despite the surrounding arid landscape. What draws enthusiast anglers to Caddo isn't just its impressive rainbow and brown trout populations, but the lake's remarkable northern pike. These aggressive predators have established themselves here, growing to substantial sizes in relative obscurity. The lake's dramatic setting feels lifted straight from a classic Western film, with sandstone cliffs plunging directly into deep, cool waters. Early mornings often begin with a thin layer of mist that burns away to reveal water so clear you can watch your lure descend 20 feet below. The surrounding Carson National Forest provides a rugged backdrop of ponderosa pines, while distant mesas frame your fishing experience in a landscape that has remained largely unchanged for centuries. You'll likely have entire coves to yourself even during what locals consider peak season. The nearest town is small enough that supplies are limited. Experienced anglers come prepared, bringing everything they need for a day of serious fishing. In this high desert jewel that continues to fly under the radar of mainstream fishing tourism, Flaming Gorge Reservoir, Wyoming, Utah. Straddling the Wyoming-Utah border, Flaming Gorge Reservoir stretches like a massive blue serpent through Red Canyon country, offering 91 miles of fishing opportunities across its 360-mile shoreline. Despite its impressive size, vast portions of this spectacular reservoir remain virtually untouched by anglers. Named for the brilliant red cliffs that glow crimson at sunrise and sunset, this reservoir holds multiple state fishing records, yet somehow maintains a relatively low profile on the national fishing scene. The lake's varying depths create distinct fishing environments: shallow, warmer sections where bass thrive, and deeper, colder zones where monster lake trout patrol. These Mackinac can exceed 50 pounds, creating the potential for the catch of a lifetime. What many don't realize is that beyond the few popular access points lie miles of hidden coves and secluded arms of the reservoir where trophy fishing awaits. In solitude, the kokanee salmon runs here are legendary among those in the know, turning the fish a brilliant red as they prepare to spawn in fall. Local guides sometimes joke that the Green River tailwater below the dam, famous for its fly fishing, actually serves as a perfect distraction, keeping the reservoir itself from becoming overcrowded. The sheer scale of Flaming Gorge means that even during peak summer weekends, you can find secluded fishing spots where the only company you'll have is the osprey diving for their own catch, and the occasional desert bighorn sheep watching curiously. From the cliffs above, Lake Washita, Arkansas. Drive just an hour from Hot Springs, Arkansas, and you'll discover Lake Washita minus 40,000 acres of bass fishing heaven that somehow remains in the shadow of more commercialized destinations. Wait, how is this massive lake hidden, you might ask? The answer lies in what's missing: the shoreline development and crowds that plague more famous fishing spots. This pristine reservoir boasts water so crystal clear you can watch your lure descend 30 feet below the surface. It's almost otherworldly. Created in the 1950s when the Army Corps of Engineers dammed the Washita River, they left the timber standing in many areas, creating an underwater forest that now serves as prime fish habitat. Can you imagine dropping your line between submerged treetops while trophy largemouth lurk below? Locals call this lake the gem of the Washitas for good reason. It harbors thriving populations of largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass. But here's the kicker. The lake's 200-plus islands create an endless maze of fishing opportunities. You can literally spend a week here without fishing the same spot twice. Morning fog often shrouds these islands, creating a mystical atmosphere as you navigate through channels that feel a world away from civilization. Base tournaments here frequently require 20-pound bags to win, yet the lake receives only a fraction of the pressure seen on more publicized waters. The best part? After a day of fishing, you'll likely have your choice of secluded island campsites, where you can fall asleep to the sounds of whippoorwills and wake to osprey diving for their breakfast in the same waters where you'll soon be. Casting. Lake Vermilion, Minnesota. Let's head north, way north to Minnesota's Lake Vermilion, where the waters spread like a twisted, island-dotted labyrinth across 40,000 acres of pristine Northwoods wilderness. This irregular-shaped marvel contains 365 islands, one for every day of the year, creating a complex fishery that rewards explorers. What makes Vermilion special? It sits perfectly positioned in that geographic sweet spot where northern species like walleye, northern pike, and smallmouth bass all thrive in the same waters. Talk about options. The name Vermilion comes from the brilliant sunset reflections that paint the water's surface crimson and gold, a sight that alone justifies the journey. But we're here for the fishing, right? Local guides speak in hushed tones, about 30-inch walleyes and pike, pushing 40 inches lurking in the deeper channels between islands. The lake's western basin features shallow, weedy bays perfect for pike ambushes, while the eastern section offers deeper, rocky structure where trophies smallmouth cruise. Unlike Minnesota's more famous boundary waters, Vermilion allows for modern amenities while still delivering an authentic Northwoods experience. The lake freezes solid in winter, transforming into an ice fishing paradise where anglers drill holes to pull jumbo perch and crappie from beneath the frozen surface. Smart anglers target the transition seasons late May, when the water first warms, and September, when the first crisp nights trigger feeding frenzies. The surrounding pine forests create a fragrant backdrop and shelter the lake's countless bays from wind, allowing you to find fishable water regardless of weather conditions. It's the kind of place where you might share a remote bay with a moose taking its morning drink rather than another fishing boat. At an elevation of 5,500 feet, Shaver Lake remains one of the state's best hidden fishing treasures. Can you believe this 2,000-acre jewel sits just 50 miles from Fresno, yet feels worlds away from California's bustling cities? The lake's striking blue waters are framed by granite peaks and pine forests, creating a backdrop that rivals any fishing destination in America. But here's what makes Shaver truly special. It's one of the few California lakes with a self-sustaining kokanee salmon population, alongside trophy-sized rainbow and brown trout. The Department of Fish and Wildlife stocks this lake, but the most impressive fish are often the naturally reproducing browns that grow fat in the lake's cool, clean waters. During summer months, savvy anglers target the thermocline at 25 to 35 feet, where kokanee school in massive numbers. These landlocked salmon might not reach the size of their ocean-going cousins, but what they lack in size, they make up for in numbers and fighting spirit on light tackle. The lake's underwater topography features submerged creek channels, rock piles, and points that concentrate fish, rewarding those who take time to study their depth finders. Early mornings here, our magical steam rises from the water's surface as the sun crests the eastern mountains, and the only sound is your line zipping through the guides as you make your first cast. Fall brings spectacular color as the aspens turn golden, coinciding with aggressive pre-winter feeding from the trout population. The lake's elevation means summer temperatures remain comfortable even when the central valley below bakes in heat. This combination of accessibility, beauty, and exceptional multi-species fishing somehow remains overshadowed by California's more publicized destinations, and regular visitors prefer to keep it that way. Lake Yokkasee, South Carolina, tucked into the Blue Ridge Mountains of South Carolina, lies a fishing paradise so stunning it seems like a film set rather than reality. Lake Yokkasee's emerald waters stretch across 7,500 acres, plunging to depths of 300 feet in places, making it one of the deepest lakes in the southeast. What's remarkable isn't just the water clarity, you can often see 30 feet down, but the fact that this extraordinary fishery remains relatively unknown outside regional fishing circles. Imagine this. 4 major mountain rivers feed into Yokkasee, creating underwater waterfalls and deep channels that harbor monster trout in a state not typically known for trout fishing. That's right, the cold water flowing from the Appalachian Mountains creates a unique environment where brown and rainbow trout grow to sizes that would make Western anglers jealous. State records have been shattered here, with with browns exceeding 17 pounds. But Yokasi isn't just a one-species wonder. The lake also supports thriving populations of smallmouth and largemouth bass. With the smallies growing fat on the abundant forage base, spring brings a spectacular sight as bass move into the shallows to spawn, visible against the sandy bottoms and the crystalline water. The surrounding Yokasi gorges were recognized by National Geographic as one of 50 of the world's last great places. Yet the lake sees just a fraction of the fishing pressure found on nearby reservoirs. Waterfalls cascade directly into the lake, at several points, accessible only by boat, creating scenes so picturesque you'll find yourself putting down your rod just to take in the view. The lake's remote location and limited access points, just one main public launch, have preserved both the pristine environment and the exceptional fishing opportunity for those willing to venture off the beaten path. Caddo Lake, Texas. Louisiana, step into a primeval world unlike any other fishing destination in America. Caddo Lake straddles the Texas-Louisiana border, spreading across 26,000 acres of mysterious cypress-studded waters that feel more like a film set for a Southern Gothic thriller than a fishing destination. Ancient cypress trees draped in Spanish moss create a labyrinthine environment where channels, bayous, and sloughs interconnect in ways that can disorient even experienced anglers. GPS is your friend here. What makes Caddo truly unique isn't just its haunting beauty, but its status as the only naturally formed lake in Texas, created, according to legend, by the New Madrid earthquakes of 1811 to 1812. The fishing here is as distinctive as the setting. Largemouth bass thrive in the tannic waters, growing fat on abundant forage, and using the complex root systems of cypress trees as ambush points. But the real Caddo experience comes when you hook into one of the lake's prehistoric-looking alligator, massive fish that can exceed 200 pounds and stretch over 7 feet long. These living fossils have remained unchanged for millions of years and provide a fishing challenge unlike any other. Early mornings here are otherworldly mist hangs between the cypress knees as the calls of barred owls echo across the water. Navigation requires careful attention, as the lake averages only 8 to 10 feet deep, with countless stumps and logs hiding just beneath the surface. Local knowledge is invaluable, as the best fishing spots are often tucked away in back bayous with colorful names like Government Ditch and Wangdoodle Pass. The surrounding wetlands support incredible bird diversity, including herons, egrets, and even the elusive ivory-billed woodpecker, once thought extinct. This combination of mysterious beauty, diverse fishing opportunities, and the feeling of fishing in a landscape unchanged for centuries makes Caddo a hidden gem that serious anglers should experience at least once. Trinity Lake, California. Northern California holds a secret that even many Californians don't know about. Trinity Lake stretches across 17,000 acres of pristine water surrounded by the towering Shasta Trinity National Forest, yet somehow remains overshadowed by its more famous neighbors, Shasta and Whiskeytown. Here's the irony. This obscurity has preserved Trinity as perhaps the best multi-species fishery in the state. Created in the 1960s, when the Trinity River was dammed, the lake features a complex underwater topography of submerged valleys, ridges, and creek channels that concentrate fish and reward anglers who take time to study their electronics. What sets Trinity apart is its remarkable diversity. Smallmouth bass so plentiful that 50 fish days aren't uncommon. Landlocked king salmon that make screaming runs when hooked, and rainbow trout that grow fat in the lake's cool, clean waters. The lake's irregular shoreline creates countless coves and points, meaning you can almost always find protected water to fish, regardless of wind conditions. During summer, the surrounding mountains capture afternoon thunderstorms that cool the air and trigger feeding frenzies as rain brings fresh nutrients into the system. Smart anglers target the transition zones where underwater points drop from 15 to 40 feet, prime hunting grounds for all three major species. The lake's elevation means comfortable fishing temperatures even during California's hottest months. Perhaps most impressive is the solitude, even on summer weekends. You'll find vast stretches of shoreline without another angler in sight. Fall brings spectacular colors to the surrounding forests. Along with aggressive pre-winter feeding from the trout and salmon populations, the lake's remote location means limited cell service and amenities, a small price to pay for fishing. Quality that rivals destinations with far more pressure and publicity. For those seeking trophy, smallmouth in particular, Trinity may be the best lake, west of the Mississippi, that you've never heard of. Hidden Lake, Alaska. When a lake's very name declares its secret nature, you know you've found something special. Hidden Lake in Alaska lives up to its name in every sense. Tucked away in the Kenai Peninsula, requiring a moderate 3-mile hike through spruce forests just to reach its shores. This effort alone filters out casual anglers, preserving an extraordinary fishing experience for those willing to make the journey. The lake sits cradled between mountains, its crystalline waters reflecting snow-capped peaks, even in midsummer. But what makes this remote gem truly exceptional isn't just its postcard-worthy setting, it's the remarkable fishing opportunity it presents. The lake holds native Arctic grayling with their distinctive sail-like dorsal fins, but the real prize are the Sockeye salmon that run into the lake each summer. Imagine standing thigh-deep in crystal-clear waters as bright red sockeye move past you in waves. The Alaska Department of Fish and Game carefully manages this fishery, preserving its quality while allowing sustainable harvest. The lake's remote location means weather can change in minutes, peaceful sunshine giving way to howling winds that churn the lake's surface into whitecaps pack accordingly. Bears frequent the shoreline, drawn by the same salmon that attracts anglers, adding an element of wild excitement rarely found in more accessible fishing destinations. The fishing season here is compressed by the northern latitude. Ice typically covers the lake until late May, and the first snows can return. By September, this narrow window coincides perfectly with peak salmon runs, creating a brief but spectacular fishing opportunity. Evening light here is nothing short of magical, with the summer sun lingering until nearly midnight, painting the surrounding peaks in alpine glow that transforms the entire landscape into shades of gold and pink. Those who make the effort to reach Hidden Lake often speak of the experience in reverent tones, not just for the quality of fishing, but for the profound wilderness connection that comes from casting in waters few others will ever see. Lake Poinsett, South Dakota. The Great Plains aren't typically associated with premier fishing destinations, which is precisely why Lake Poinsett remains South Dakota's best-kept secret. This 7,900-acre natural lake sits in the eastern glacial lakes region of the state, where retreating ice sheets left behind a landscape dotted with productive waters that receive just a fraction of the attention given to the Missouri River reservoirs. Poinsett's relatively shallow basin, averaging just 14 feet deep, warms quickly in spring, jump-starting the food chain and creating one of the Midwest's most overlooked walleye fisheries. But what makes Poinsett truly special is its remarkable diversity. Where else can you catch trophy, walleye, northern pike, yellow perch, and smallmouth bass, all in the same day? The lake's underwater structure isn't immediately obvious. Subtle depth changes of just a few feet can concentrate fish, rewarding anglers who pay close attention to their electronics. Spring brings spectacular fishing as walleyes move into rocky shorelines to spawn, while summer sees them relocate to subtle mid-lake humps that rise just a few feet from the surrounding bottom. The lake's eastern shore features rocky points that create prime ambush points for northern pike, while the western bays develop lush weed growth that harbors some of the largest perch in the region. The surrounding prairie landscape offers little protection from South Dakota's notorious winds, meaning Poinsett can transform from glass calm to 3-foot waves in minutes. Experienced anglers watch the forecast carefully and position themselves accordingly. Winter brings a completely different experience as the lake freezes solid, transforming into an ice fishing paradise where anglers drill holes through 2 feet of ice to access schooling perch below. The relative obscurity of this lake means even during prime summer weekends, you'll find open water and cooperative fish without fighting crowds. The small communities surrounding the lake offer authentic Midwestern hospitality without the commercialization found in more famous fishing destinations. For anglers seeking a multi-species fishery with trophy potential in an uncrowded setting, Lake Poinsett offers a reminder that sometimes the best fishing destinations are hiding in plain sight. Echo Reservoir, Utah. Just an hour from Salt Lake City lies a fishing gem that somehow remains overshadowed by Utah's more famous still waters. Echo Reservoir spreads across 1,400 acres of high mountain valley, its blue waters reflecting the surrounding Wasatch Mountains in a postcard-perfect scene that belies the exceptional fishing opportunity it contains. What makes Echo special isn't just its accessibility, it's the remarkable variety it offers anglers throughout the seasons. This reservoir harbors healthy populations of rainbow trout, brown trout, smallmouth bass, and even tiger trout, the aggressive hybrid between browns and brook trout that grow rapidly in Echo's productive waters. The reservoir's elevation at 5,560 feet creates a perfect temperature balance with cool enough water for trout to thrive year-round, yet warm enough in sheltered bays for bays to flourish during summer months. The Weber River flows into the reservoir's upper end, creating a delta of channels, drop-offs, and structure that concentrates fish and rewards anglers who take time to explore this productive zone. Spring brings spectacular fishing as rainbow trout move into shallow rocky areas to spawn, visible in the clear water as they flash and dart across gravel beds. Summer sees a complete transformation as the reservoir spices, sending trout deeper while bringing smallmouth bass into the rocky shorelines where they ambush crayfish among the boulders. Fall may be the reservoir's finest season, as cooling waters trigger aggressive feeding across all species before winter sets in. Speaking of winter, Echo transforms into one of Utah's most productive ice fishing destinations when it freezes solid, typically from December through March. The reservoir's location in a mountain valley means it frequently experiences its own microclimate. You might find calm conditions on Echo even when strong winds blow elsewhere. Despite its proximity to Salt Lake City, Echo sees just a fraction of the fishing pressure found on better-known Utah waters like Strawberry Reservoir or Flaming Gorge. The surrounding landscape offers camping opportunities with views that rival national parks, yet without the crowds or restrictions. For anglers seeking a multi-season, multi-species fishery with an easy reach of urban amenities, but offering a genuine mountain lake experience, Echo Reservoir represents the perfect hidden gem, hiding in plain sight just off Interstate 80, yet somehow maintaining its status as a local's secret. If this video inspired you to explore new waters, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe to HookedUSA. Here, we're all about real fishing stories, hidden gems, and the kind of adventure you can't find at crowded boat ramps. Join the community, and let's continue discovering America's best-kept fishing secrets together. Tight lines, and we'll see you next time.